your connection if we stay connected. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 219 of our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. So not only are we talking about customizing and creating a practice, a spiritual practice for ourselves as leaders, founders, organizers, business owners, just all around good human beings, we are doing that for our business. I've learned 27 businesses in my lifetime and worked for many more, worked with hundreds, and have learned and seen a lot of things. And one thing that I've seen that gives a business a competitive advantage is having a connection to something outside of themselves, a spiritual connection. It becomes part of the culture. And I'm not talking about a religion or a dogma or an obligation type situation, but a real thing that brings people together and links them to different entities in their community that feel right and feel good and feel aligned with the organization. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Isn't it interesting in this day and age of AI, how many certain words are being brought to the surface and brought up that most people never even used before? It's pretty interesting. I never knew that we could regulate our nervous system, which is amazing, by the way, until I came on the school platform. I love the school platform. We've got a free community there called Supersize Your Business. That's where I share the annual challenge every day, as well as a whole lot of other things that help you grow and scale and supersize your business, of course, because we all start our businesses because we want to scale and grow them so we can sell them someday, or so we can leave them to our children, whatever is right for our situations. My mind's changed over the years, owning different businesses, whether I wanted to leave them for my kids or I wanted to just optimize, maximize, and then divest myself of those businesses. Thus, so many businesses in so many different industries. Well, today, let's dive deep on this a little bit and talk about how you create a spiritual practice or build spirituality into your organization in a way that doesn't feel yucky, right? Nobody wants it to feel icky. Nobody wants it to feel like it's an obligation. But we want our business to have a soul or a spirit to it that attracts the people that we want to serve and that we want to work with. We can do that by adding different practices, by doing different things throughout our day and making them part of our culture that just feels good to everybody involved and feels normal. You know, lots of different companies, and I've done this in my own businesses, have different practices. We used to do outside meetings. Why? Because getting out in nature was a way for us to get into the community, but also feel good about being outside in nature, which recharges everybody's batteries. You know, even if it's rainy or snowy or freezing cold out, it still is good to get out and breathe fresh air and realize how immense the universe is. It's one of the things I love about nature. It demonstrates to us over and over and over again that things cycle through ebbs and flows, that things, you know, grow and die and then are reborn next year. All things that we can learn, so many lessons in nature. So nature, prayer is probably not going to be a part of anybody who's listening to me's repertoire in their organization. But there are big companies that actually, just like hospitals, have chapels in them where people can connect in their own way. And, you know, usually on their own time, lunch break or before or after work, etc. Nature, I already mentioned. Meditation. Are you a meditator? Do you meditate? Now, I spent a lot of years trying to figure out how to meditate the right way, which is really funny because at some point I realized there is no right way. There's the way that works for me, and then there's all kinds of other ways that work for other people. And all I need to worry about and care about, and I don't even need to worry about it, is what works for me, and then I do that. I'm testing out silent meditation. I learned about it in another school community. I got to tell you, it is so challenging. If you've got a very active brain, or even a kind of active brain, sitting in silence for any amount of time. I'm up to 7 minutes. I think I actually did 15 minutes once, but let's be honest, my brain was all over the place. But I am working on that gradually because it is so powerful. Some of my best ideas and insights for my business come when I'm just sitting in a very quiet place and trying to just focus on my breath, nothing else. Gratitude practice, we've talked about that several times this year. Being involved in a community, either with other like-minded organizations, etc. Journaling, writing things down, having a gratitude journal. Again, I've told you this is our secret weapon to getting everything that we want. You can study, you can read, you can do hypnosis, you can do art, music, What else? There's so many possibilities that we just have to figure out what works for us and what makes sense in our organization. I know some organizations that start every day with exercise. Now, if you're not a healthy or health conscious person and don't understand the connection to your physical body, you're probably going to not participate in that. Again, we can create things that people can choose to participate in or not if we want to do them as a community or privately, right? So those are just some ideas of some things that could be incorporated, and you have to figure out and test and tweak and see if they make sense for your organization. Because one of our basic principles is we want to do things because it feels good to us. That's why we want to create and customize our own connection, our own way of connecting in our own practice, and let other people do the same. Now, it's like anything else. We make it work within the guidelines of the organization. If it isn't appropriate for the organization, then it isn't done during work hours or during our company hours or when people are working. It's like, scrolling on the internet. I don't know any company that says, I want to pay you to scroll social media all day. Yet it does happen. Again, culture, management issue, it's a leadership issue, right? So today, what is our action item? Our action item is to come up with, and I suggest you don't do it on your own. You can come up with your own, and I challenge you, if you haven't already, create your own connection process. How do you connect to your higher power? How do you connect? I call it big me and little me. How do you connect to your big me? I call it Big Sharon, Little Sharon. I call it Sherry. Sherry's my little version. It's my one here on earth, and then my physical being. And everything else that makes up who we are and who our organization is, that's our spiritual being or our big being. All right, so what are we going to do with this today? We are going to identify a practice, at least one, that we could incorporate into our business culture, and then test it out, incorporate it, see what happens. Again, like I said, depending on your organization, don't do this in a vacuum. Unless, of course, you have your own team or something and you can just test it out and do things with your team. Or bring it to your team meeting and ask, guys, I want us to be more connected to things outside of ourselves and outside the world. What can we do to make that happen? All right, that is our topic today. This is the kind of things we talk about in the Supersize Your Business School community. I invite you to join us there. It is free. It's a premium community. You can just join. Just put me in the comments below and I will send you the invite link. I like to invite people because that keeps the group tight and focused and on the people it's meant to serve and help grow and scale and supersize your business. All right, have an awesome day. If I can help, ask. Otherwise, I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.